versus West Indies cricket game that's supposed to take place here in Dominica in early July. But here we are at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium in Rosso, Dominica, getting ready for the naming of the East Stand at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium in honor of Thomas Kentish, a man who has made Dominica very, very proud in the area of cricket in Dominica and his overall development as a community-minded person, one who has a passion for sports in Dominica. He serves as a coach, he serves as a model, one who encourages people and people who might be feeling, to give up. He's always there to, he has always been there to encourage them. And so we are here getting ready for this big event. If you notice, those of you who've been to the Windsor Park Stadium, the other stands are named. We have the Norbert Phillip and Adam Sanford stand. We have the Grayson Shillingford and Irvin Shillingford stand. And we also have the Clem John and Caleb Laura stand. But the East stand has never been named after any any icon in the area of sports in Dominica. And so we are getting ready for this event. Thanks again to Fine Foods Incorporated for allowing us to do this broadcast. Usually on a Friday morning like this, we have Fine Foods Dominica doing their program. But so we want to say thanks again to Fine Foods for allowing this broadcast to go through at the sports stadium. But guess who is at the head table? I can tell you we have the Minister of Sports in Dominica, Honorable Roslyn Paul. We have Dominica's acting Prime Minister and the Senior Minister, Reginald Ostry, and other officials here who will address us this morning. But we are getting ready to go across to Mr. Blackmore and Lucian Blackmore, who is the permanent secretary in that ministry. Other ministers in attendance are the Education Minister. We have the Speaker of the House of Assembly and Honorable Oscar George, among other ministers of government, including Eliton Paya, Bedi Dokchov. We are getting ready to begin with the national anthem to be done by a cultural officer, Mr. Carlton Henry.
Beauty, isle of splendor, isle to all so sweet and fair. All must surely gaze in wonder at thy gifts so rich and rare. Rivers, valleys, hills and mountains, all these gifts we do extol. Healthy land so like all fountains, giving cheer that warms the soul.
Thank you. Please remain standing as we call on Pastor Samuel Augustine to pray for us this morning. Pastor Augustine.
Even as we prepare, we hear the siren in the background. Seems like the fire and ambulance service are on some important move. Let's remember to pray for the safety of all our Dominicans at this time.
And verse 7 that says, they go from strength to strength as they appear before God in Zion. It's very simple scripture. It just says they go from strength to strength as they appear before God in Zion. Father, today we give you thanks and we give you praise for yet another wonderful day, for yet another tremendous occasion to gather. Oh God, we take time today to give you thanks, oh God, for the naming, for the commissioning of this standard today. We thank you, oh God, for the legacy that has been led, that has been lived, the legacy, oh God, that has been built, oh God, by the one who this stand will be named after today. Father, we thank you that as we look at his life, we see indeed that there's a dimension in which, oh God, he has grown from strength to strength. And truly, oh God, we are praying today that in every dimension, in every way, oh God, cricket and sporting in Dominica can be looked upon, that we would say, yes, indeed, we are growing from strength to strength. We pray, God, that today, even as we come, oh God, to do this, that truly you would bless the stand, and truly, God, that even those who would come here, they would realize, God, that indeed sporting in Dominica is still something vibrant, still something to be sought after, still something to do in the name of Jesus Christ. And so we ask you, oh God, today to bless these proceedings. And I pray one more time that as we continue to do this, that everything we do, we appear before you, that truly, in every way, shape, and form, we will grow from strength to strength, trusting you and being built by you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Honorable Reginald Austrie, Acting Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, Honorable Joseph Isaac, Speaker of the House, Honorable Philip Roll, Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Rosalind Paul, Honorable Fidel Grant, Minister for Blue and Green Economy, Agriculture and National Food Security, Honorable Dennis Charles, Minister for Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiative, Honorable Dr. Irvin McIntyre, Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Honorable Kent Edward, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Honorable Senator Gregory Riviere, Minister of State in the Ministry of Blue and Green Economy, Honorable Senator Oscar George, Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, and of course the Minister for Telecommunication and Broadcasting, Honorable Lady Catherine Daniel, Parliamentary Representative for the Collier constituency, and other members of Cabinet, permanent secretaries, Your Worship, the Mayor of Roseau, Sandra Royer, Mr. Gafford Joseph, Stadium Manager, Mr. Treasurer Shillingford, the Sports Coordinator and other heads of division, Mr. Thomas Kentish, the honorary today, and of course, a game coach in the Ministry of Sports, Mr. Billy Doctorov, representing the Windsor Park Sports Stadium Management Committee, and of course, he is the president of the Dominica Olympics Committee. And other executive members of the Dominica Cricket Association, invited guests, dignitaries, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, Dominicans living at home and abroad, a very good morning to you. I must say, it is for all of us a wonderful occasion this morning, one in which we are taking time off to declare and celebrate the naming of the East Stand right behind us in honor of Thomas Kentish. And of course, for those of us who might be, or those of you who might be young enough not to know who Thomas Kentish is, I think a number of persons coming after me will be more than dignified to do so. But I would want to say that the Honorable Minister responsible for sports, Honorable Rosalind Paul, will declare the naming of the stand in honor of Thomas Kentish. And of course, we all here, including almost the full member of Cabinet, and other dignitaries and government officials will all celebrate this morning's honoring of Thomas Kentish. I don't see Gavin in the studio or in the broadcast team, but I know I normally see Gavin driving with very great pride and flair. Oh, Gavin is there, of course, man, Sportsman of the Year. But I want to say, Gavin, from today onwards, we will have a different sense of branding of the TK image. And I'm saying that because all of us who are old enough to be here know that most of us do not call Thomas Kentish, and the middle name that I leave the minister the honor to say what it is. Nobody call Thomas Kentish. Everybody is TK. So from today going onwards, I want to put Gavin on the spot by telling him, from today onward, you're going to have to start promoting and branding the TK stand just in time for the upcoming T20 games between West Indies and Bangladesh on the 2nd and 3rd of July. We'll all be going down to the TK stand for the games. So, Gavin, that's a copyright a little dear to you, and of course an interest to start branding that TK thing. I won't say what it is, but you know very well what it is. But I must say, this is the spirit of today. We must also evoke and engage our lighter side because it's a moment to really celebrate. And for me, it is really a privilege and honor to really be part of the celebration this morning. And on that note, I also want to call a constituent who is also the worship, the mayor of Roseau, Sandra, what is the mayor name? Royer. I was so inclined to say, as she is a Jean Goodwill like TK, I know it would be an honor to call on to her to welcome all of us here in the capacity of the Mayor of Roseau. Honorable worship the Mayor of Roseau.
Okay. Pleasant good morning to everyone. Honorable Reginald Austri, Senior Minister, Honorable Rosen Paul, Minister for Sports, PS, Mr. Kentish, and the rest of the cabinet staff, guests, media, good morning. It is my great pleasure as the Mayor of the City of Roseau to welcome you all to this official ceremony for the naming of the East Stand at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium in honor of Mr. Thomas Kentish, a great Dominican sportsman. I am very pleased to be here today as I have been invited to welcome you. I want to take this opportunity to inform our young and inspiring sportsmen and women that there are tremendous opportunity ahead of you. See this branding of Mr. Kentish as an inspiration, a motivation factor in your desire to accomplish your goal that you wish to embark in sports. I would especially like to thank the Honorable Rosen Paul, Minister for Sports, Culture, and Community Development, and her staff for such a great gesture in honoring a most deserving candidate in the field of sports, Mr. Thomas Kentish. Many times we are called upon to give remarks on many different occasions. However, on this occasion, it is really gratifying for me as Mayor of the City of Roseau to give a few brief welcoming remarks as we pay tribute to one of our living legend sports in Dominica, and also a resident of the City of Roseau. The occasion for which we are here gathered is to immortalize the man, Mr. Thomas Kentish, for his great contribution to sports, not only in Dominica, but within the Caribbean region. It is very hard to determine whether Mr. Kentish was better in football or in cricket. This is, of course, a subject for discussion. Mr. Kentish has now joined the illustrious band of great Dominican sports personality, as his name will be on the East Stand at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. Such a deserving tribute and honor I could not have thought of a better opening remark to this welcome I have been asked to deliver. With this brief remark, I welcome you all to the official naming of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, the East Stand, in honor of Mr. Thomas Kentish. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship, Royer. Of course, we know that we are honoring Thomas Kentish here today because of service to country through distinction. And of course, we have to take account of what he has done to really deserve this honor that has been bestowed on him this morning. And to do that for us this morning is the sports coordinator, Mr. Trevor Shillingford. Mr. Shillingford.
Thank you, PS. Honorable Reginald Austri, Acting Prime Minister, Honorable Joseph Isaac, Speaker of the House of Assembly, Mr. Philip Rule, Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Rosalind Paul, Minister of Sports, Culture, and Community Development, and other members of Cabinet and members of Parliament, Ms. Karen Prevost, Secretary to the Cabinet, Mr. Blackmore, Lucian Blackmore, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Sports, Culture, and Community Development, and other permanent secretaries, Her Worship, the Mayor of Roseau, Sandra Ermin-Roye, Mr. Gafford Joseph, Manager of the Stadium, other heads of division, Mr. Thomas Kentish, Coach at the Ministry of Sports. And I also want to recognize Mr. Joseph, or Joe Kentish, the brother of Mr. Thomas Kentish and other members of the family. Mr. Billy Doctruve, President of the Dominica Olympic Committee and member of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium Management Committee. Executive members of the Dominica Cricket Association and the Dominica Olympic Committee. Other invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My role here this morning is to simply give a brief of some of the many achievements of Mr. Thomas Kentish. The achievements that will be pointed out this morning by me will be just a few of what Mr. Kentish has accomplished and given to Dominica in the area of sports development over the years. So the list that I will be pointing out will be just a summary of the things that he has done. Because if we are to mention the many things that he has done, we might have to take a tea break, and probably we might have to send in a night watchman to come in the following morning. Mr. Thomas Zephaniah Kentish was born on December 15, 1957, a resident of Goodwill who has lived in the same neighborhood on Murphy's Lane all his life. He attended the Goodwill Primary School and later the Dominica Grammar School. From a very early age, Mr. Kentish took up a love for sports. Inspired by his older brother, Joe Kentish, who had represented Dominica in both cricket and football, the younger Kentish would always be seen on the Lindo Park in Goodwill. He credits Lindo Park as the venue which propelled his sporting career. With the inspiration of his brother and that strong desire from his exploits on the Lindo Park, he went on to represent the Goodwill Primary School and later the Dominica Grammar School in both cricket and football. His break at national representation came very early, and at the age of 14, he was selected to represent the Dominica under-19 cricket team. To this day, Kentish still has the cricket gear bag given to him by his late father as a gift upon his selection on that team. He represented the national under-19 team for 5 consecutive years. During that period, He represented the Windward Islands and the Combine Islands in the West Indies under-19 cricket tournaments. He first represented the Combine Islands in the years 1973 and 1974. And from 1975 to 1977, he represented, when the islands were separated, he represented the Windward Islands. Given his exploits on the field as a youth cricketer, he was nicknamed Yaga, named after the great West Indian cricketer Lawrence Yaga Rowe. All who had interest in cricket admires Kentish commitment and style of play. In 1974, the then resident judge, Grenadian Justice Renwick, while viewing a senior national cricket trial match, inquired about the whereabouts of young Kentish, whom he had seen earlier during the youth cricket tournament. Surprised of his exclusion from the trial match, the judge convinced local cricket authorities to include young Kentish in the senior trials. The judge then sent his police escort to Goodwill in search of Mr. Kentish. The officer did as ordered and picked up Mr. Kentish in Goodwill, and he was summoned to the Botanic Gardens to be part of the trial match. At that time, he was only age 17. He did not make the final team. However, 1 year later in 1975, he was selected to the senior men's national team and represented Dominica until 1993. He represented the Windward Islands senior team from 1977 to 1992 as an off-spin bowler with strong batting abilities to be considered a genuine all-rounder. Among his representations for the Windward Islands were matches against international teams. During the 1982-83 Caribbean Tour of the Caribbean, he played against the Indian touring team. He played against the Australian team during the 1983-84 Caribbean Tour, against the England team during the 1989-1990 Caribbean Tour, and also against the Yorkshire County Cricket Team during their 1989-90 Tour of the Caribbean. He ended his career with well over 200 wickets for Dominica and is regarded as one of the leading wicket takers in Windward Islands cricket. He ended his first-class career with 135 wickets at an average of 32.16, with his best bowling figures being 6 for 69 versus Barbados in a match-winning performance for the Windward Islands against Barbados. Kentish fell short of the double, and for those of us who understand the cricket jargon, that is when a bowler or a player gets 100 wickets and also scores 1,000 runs. He fell short of the double by 51 runs, ending with an aggregate of 949 runs. Throughout the journey, Mr. Kentish's leadership skills has always been a feature. He captained the Dominica under-19 team in 1976 and 1997, and also captained the Windward Islands team in under-19 team in 1976 and 1997. The Dominica senior cricket team from 1988 to 1990. Though Kentish is well known for his cricket ability, he also had a stint in football at the national level. He represented Dominica in the under-19 football tournament in 1977 and also represented Dominica at the senior level in football from 1978 to 1984. On the local scene, Kentish represented the Celtics United Sports Club in cricket and football, and later represented the Goodwill Drafters in football. In 1996, he started his coaching career as a National Lotteries cricket coach. Then in 1997, he was absorbed into the staff of the sports division as a cricket coach, a position he still holds today. During his time at the sports division, he has overseen several youth programs which are responsible for producing over 90% of our current cricketers today. He coached the Dominica under-13s, the Dominica under-15s, the Dominica under-19s, and unfortunately, he only had one stint as coach of the senior team in 2018. On February 6, 2008, the Windsor Park Stadium hosted its first major sporting activity, which was a World Cup football qualifier between Dominica and Barbados. With a crowd at close to 4,500 in attendance, the crowd was concentrated in the stands on the western end of the Windsor Park Stadium. However, there were 3 spectators seen seated in the east stand, that is this stand here. It was later observed that the 3 were Thomas Kentish, accompanied by 2 of his friends from the village of St. Joseph. A close friend of Kentish, who was at the game and seeing his almost lone presence in the east stand, jokingly referred to it as the Thomas Kentish stand. Here we are today, June 24th, 2022. Thanks all for the listening pleasure of your ear. Thanks.
Quite a historical perspective bio of Mr. Thomas Kentish in the area of sports.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shillingford. Of course, I was very elated to hear you call on his big brother and mentor, Joe Kentish. And when you said that, it immediately came to mind somebody that I know who would like to be here this morning because of the physical challenges can be there, and that is Clem John. I know Clem was one of the mentors of Kentish and looking over him in the days when we fought a little boy among us big men. That could be his father playing cricket for Dominica. So, Clem, if you're hearing us this morning, we say a very hearty welcome to you, and we want to wish you a speedy recovery. On that note, as I said, the honor of declaring the naming of the stand in honor of the naming of the East Stand at the Windsor Park Stadium, in honor of Mr. Thomas Kentish, is Honorable Rosalind Paul, the Minister for Sport, Culture, and Community Development. Honorable Paul.
Good morning. The usual action. I will start by saying I was not satisfied with the applause, so I will invite you to applaud all the achievements. Applaud Mr. Kentish for all the achievements that we heard just a while ago, and much more which has not been said. It is a bright and wonderful day, one that the Lord has made. We need to rejoice for many reasons. Let me first recognize the Honorable Reginald Ostry, Acting Prime Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development. Honorable Joseph Isaac, Speaker of the House of Assembly. Mr. Philip Roll, Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly. All my cabinet colleagues who are here, they are all here in large numbers, and other members of Parliament. And especially Honorable Lady Catherine Daniel. Ms. Karen Privot, Secretary to the Cabinet. Mr. Lucien Blackmore, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Sports, Culture and Community Development. Other permanent secretaries. Her Worship, the Mayor of Roseau, Sandra Ermin Royer. And she's from Roseau, but she's partly from Paybush, if you didn't know. Her father is from Paybush. Mr. Gafford Joseph, Stadium Manager. Mr. Trevor Shillingford, Sports Coordinator. The heads of division of the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Community Development, and other staff members. Mr. Thomas Kentish, our guest of honor today, and other members of his family and well-wishers, Mr. Billy Doctrove, President, Dominica Olympics Committee, and member of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium Management Committee, executive of the Dominica Cricket Association and the Dominica Olympics Committee, other invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, a bright and wonderful morning to all of you. Thanks to all of you for accepting the invitation from the Ministry of Sports, Culture, and Community Development to be part of this special ceremony. And I say a special one indeed, one which provides us the opportunity not only to honor outstanding achievements to nation building or simply the naming of a stand, but one which provides that opportunity to say thank you and to highlight the contribution of yet another exemplary citizen of our beloved Dominica, and as an inspiration to many of our young sportsmen and sportswomen in Dominica. I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Thomas Kentish, a proud man of the soil, for agreeing to be our special guest at today's ceremony, the East Stand naming ceremony. In October 2009, the Cabinet of the Government of the Commonwealth of Dominica took a historic position to name stands at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium after prominent Dominicans who have contributed to the development of sports on the island, particularly cricket and football. The Windsor Park Sports Stadium comprises 4 stands, a players' pavilion, and the media center. The stands were back then referred to as the Presider's Stand, Southern Stand, Northern Stand, and the East Stand. On May 27, 2010, at a ceremony held at the conference room of the stadium, the Presider's Stand, the South and North Stands, along with the Players' Pavilion, were all named after Dominican sporting icons who have contributed to the development of sports. A truly landmark occasion it was. Among the criteria used to consider the nominees were national representation, unbroken for at least 5 years, consistent above average performance, and not being a active participant as a player in the sport for at least 5 years. In addition, outstanding honorable service to the sport and country were also considered. Back then, many were quite pleased with the choice of nominees, and as such, the stands and pavilions were named after a list of distinguished sports personalities. Today, 12 years later, the names of these individuals remain part of our sporting landscape and are displayed for all to see at our world-class sports stadium, a fitting tribute to their contributions. Since then, the East Stand of this facility has remained unnamed and is simply referred to as the East Stand. In keeping with the 2009 decision, Cabinet once more decided to honor this previous commitment to the legacy of outstanding sports personalities. As such, the decision was taken to name the East Stand after another son of the soil who has given and is still giving extraordinary service to our nation in the field of sports, Mr. Thomas Zephaniah Kentish, or as he is popularly known, TK. Mr. Kentish has been part of our sporting landscape from 1973 to present, serving sports for close to 50 years, a contribution deserving of a Round of applause once more. We cannot overdo it. From youthful days onward, he has participated in cricket at varying age levels, nationally and regionally, and in leadership as captain. And you heard the whole, I'm not sure if we can call it a litany, the whole listing of his achievement. Following his playing days, he naturally gravitated to coaching, an attribute which was spotted in him from his playing days, as he was always seen tutoring the younger team members and providing guidance on the field to his colleagues during the matches. He is currently employed as a coach with the Ministry of Sports, Culture, and Community Development. For us as a government, we view such contributions as that which is worthy of celebrating and recognition. For the naming of the East Stand after Mr. Kentish, we are ensuring that his contributions to sports remains as part of our sporting history for a lifetime. For generations to come, those using the Windsor Park Sports Stadium will inquire of the name and the reason for the name being so proudly displayed. It will be visible and hold meaning and value indefinitely. Earlier, I mentioned that we were here to say thanks, and saying thanks is always a noble gesture. Today, the Prime Minister and the government and people of Dominica say thanks to Mr. Kentish for his contribution to Dominica as a player, a captain, a mentor, a coach, and a gentleman at heart. Your contribution is appreciated by all. And today, thank you, thank you, thank you. We say that, thank you in a tangible way by naming the East Stand in your name. We are delighted that you so willingly accepted our request to utilize your name in honor and as an added value to our prominent national sports facility. We express appreciation to your family as well, as undoubtedly they would have made sacrifices and provided guidance, and we heard the mentorship of your brother, support and encouragement to you in your service to country. As a ministry, we will continue to recognize and support the efforts of our sports personalities. We continue our investment in sports development, and through the efforts of people like Mr. Kentish, we continue to implement programs geared at cultivating better prepared athletes. Our intention is to strengthen those programs at the youth and community level in the coming years. The various sports programs, such as the cricket coaching caravan for primary schools and the many other grassroots programs, are what is responsible for sustaining sports at the national level. Not only are we concentrating on the programs, but also the structures. And there are several facilities that we see being built around the island. And even though over $400,000 is currently being spent on the stadium as we prepare for international cricket. The intention is to create stronger sporting bodies, such as clubs and sports committees. The formalization of the National Sports Council is in progress. We have draft documents, guidelines, and scheduled consultations for early July. We have put in place a task force and assigned a coordinator who has already started operation and will create the platform for full formalization of the Sports Council. Our emphasis is geared at creating many more like Mr. Kentish, many more personalities like Mr. Kentish. We are providing the opportunities. We ask that the youth grab these opportunities, and when you have achieved, we will be there to celebrate your honor and honor your success in fitting ways like we are doing best here today. Congratulations to Mr. Kentish. And once again, thanks for allowing us the privilege of having your name inscribed and promoted as part of this facility and to build on such tremendous heritage and legacy. And when we speak of legacy, we will always remember the Dominica Labour Party government as having the legacy of people being first. It not only in sports, but across sectors. It is indeed a privilege to declare the naming of the East Stand in your name and honor, Mr. Kentish. God bless you and keep you. We pray that God will bless and keep you, Mr. Kentish. God bless Dominica, but God bless the government and people of Dominica always. Thank you.
You're listening to Kyrie FM, and we also want to say special thanks to Fine Foods Dominica for allowing this broadcast to go through. Usually between 10:30 and 11, we have the Fine Foods time. We want to say thanks again to them for allowing the broadcast here at the stadium.
I was so humble this morning, early conversation with Pastor Hill, who said to me, Mr. Blackmore, I'm so happy the privilege and the honor that it is being bestowed on such a humble and deserving man as Kentish. So we all know it's something that is very deserving. And on that note, I really want to ask us to give TK a standing ovation as I call on to Mr. Kentish to give us some remarks. Let's all give him a standing ovation.
Yeah, good morning. I'm not a big speaker, but protocol has been established. Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank the government of Dominica for bestowing that honor of naming the East Stand after my name. Actually, I came into sport not with that in my mind. That was my gift, that was my talent. I just came out and represent the country with everything I had. Just humble. And at the end of the day, I think it could inspire other younger players just to be humble, represent your country, either you play football or you play cricket, and the rest is history. So that's what my legacy is all about. And I have to my bigger brother is there. That was my inspiration because he represented Dominica at football and cricket. So, and then I came from a sporting family because I had some brothers. Well, they never take the sport to the level that my big brother, Joe, and myself did. But they was just playing. They could have done everything we have done, yeah. And it's an honor now for me to be, my name to be in a place here when I just a stone throw away from where I live, whereas I born and raised, and then to have my name in the park with people like Billy Doctrove, Clem John, Caleb Laura, Norbert Phillip, Adam Stanford. Yeah, and well, these people are my mentors. So at least I follow their footsteps. There were a lot of times I played cricket, I played football, not getting anything. But the most important thing is that was my contribution to Dominica. Yeah. And that's why I will always remain the same person I am. All right? And it's nice to have my niece, Alison, and her two daughters, Deanne Rose and Alia. Thanks for coming. And then I always have to make mention of my big sister, Desiree John. She was the wife of the first Prime Minister of Dominica. And all these people give me inspiration and motivation to be where I am today. So with just a few words, I appreciate what the government of Dominica has bestowed on me to recognize what I've done in my little humbleness for Dominica. All right, so thanks a lot for all the support I've been getting. Thanks a lot.
And again, we can see why this man epitomizes humility. Simple, humble fellow. And just as Pastor Hill said it to me this morning, all of us know TK to be that very humble person that he is. And I always joke with him and say, boy, TK, it's a pity you born that early, because if you were not that early, the guys who are getting all the economic rent now, like Brain Bravo and the others, you would be in that category as well. And he always laughed about the whole thing. He just wanted to play the game for the love of the game, and you heard him say it, for the love of country. So thank you very much, TK. We are really honored, and we feel very privileged, and we all want to celebrate in recognizing you this morning. And to really mark the tremendous honor that is bestowed upon you, the Prime Minister of Dominica, represented by his acting Prime Minister, really want to be part and parcel of that thing. And I must tell the people who are listening, almost the entire cabinet of ministers are here this morning. The attempt earlier on was to try to recognize them, but you realize that protocol list would have been too long, so you just have to simply say the cabinet of ministers. And again, we really appreciate that level of respect and recognition given to TK himself. It is my honor and privilege to call on the acting Honorable Prime Minister, Reginald Austrie, to deliver some remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I played some sports. I used to be a wicket keeper, and I used to be a goalkeeper. But one of the qualities that I think I inherited from TK is his ability not to be a great talker. And so I promise you this morning that I'm going to be very, very, very brief. I'm going to surprise you with this one. Speaker of the House of Assembly, Joseph Isaac, Deputy Speaker, Mr. Roll, Honorable Minister for Sports, Rosalind Paul, other members of the Cabinet, Secretary to the Cabinet, permanent secretaries, to the Mr. Blackmore, who is our chairman today, other permanent secretaries, worship the Mayor of Roseau, Ermin Roye, Sir Gavin Joseph, Search Coordinator Trevor Shillingford, other heads of the division, Billy Doctorow, President of the Olympics Committee, other members of the cricketing fraternity, members of the Dominica Cricket Association, our honored guest, Mr. Thomas Kentish and family. This for us may appear to be a simple gesture of appreciation and love for the contribution that you have made to Dominica. But in countries with far more resources than ours, this would be a major achievement. And today's ceremony would be a major ceremony. I want to extend to you, Thomas Kentish, on this occasion, our congratulations on your dedication and your commitment and your discipline. And we'll speak to discipline in sports as we go along, because people believe that to succeed in sports, you must have all these fancy facilities that we see on television. But in your days, our facilities were limited, and you still did exceedingly well. So today you're dispelling that myth that you have to have all these fancy facilities to succeed. What I believe is commitment, dedication, and discipline. And that is what has taken you so far and have you here in our midst today. On behalf of the government, particularly the Prime Minister who is out of state and who has regret not being here today for this very important occasion, we want to extend to you our thanks and our gratitude for this tremendous contribution that you have made and continue to make to our country. We meet here, though, under very strenuous circumstances. And the search for a missing 12-year-old is not done yet. Sometimes you listen to the discussion and you believe that this child is gone and forgotten. But no, she's still missing, and the search still continues. And I really want to thank the hundreds and thousands of Dominicans who have been part of the search for Kenisha, and those who have voiced publicly their opinion on what we believe is a heinous crime. A crime doesn't mean when you die, the crime stops. It's a crime for having abducted this young child at a home, and she has never been seen since. And I'm very gratified that our people, there are still things that can bring us together as a people. And I think it's coincidental that while we search for Kenisha, and while we have a national effort out in this endeavor, that we can still celebrate an event that has brought not only Dominicans together, but the entire Caribbean. I'm talking about cricket, one of the most significant unifying factors in West Indian history. And I pray to God that she will be found, and she'll be found alive, and she can return to a normal life. And there are great things in store for Kenisha, because she has a big story to tell whenever she returns. Your career, as we understand it, the most significant aspect of it, and we heard Trevor outline many aspects of it, but we believe that the highlight was your 56 first-class matches as part of the Windward Islands team, and the 135 wickets that you have to your name. And this, by our standard, is no little feat. It's a very impressive record at that level, and I'm quite certain that if the playing field was as level as it should be, then I'm sure that your record would have been much more impressive than what is being portrayed here today. But give thanks for small mercies, my brother. You have done it. You have made us all proud. We also learned that you're also a very avid footballer, and you mentioned it yourself, and you have represented Dominica at both levels at the same time in football and cricket. Your passion, your skill for the game has never been in question, but your contribution to sports did not just end with the end of your playing days. It continued as a coach, where you've coached several teams, including the national youth team, the senior men's team, and in more recent times, the coach of the Barana Ote Warriors, who just recently won the inaugural Dream 11 T20 cricket. And you continue to go down in the history of cricket in Dominica as one of our success stories. You have done quite a bit of work at the primary school level, and your encouragement and nurturing of our young boys and young girls are in fact paying dividends. And as was mentioned, that many of our present-day cricketers at all levels would have, at one point or the other, passed through your hands. And the future for cricket in Dominica looks very, very, very bright indeed. And every time we gain success, the name of Thomas Kentish will continue to reign in that sporting discipline. Remember also your coaching program with schools and your passion and your ability to translate into action your bowling and batting techniques to our students. We believe that the cricket caravan should return as a great initiative as we went from community to community, helping in the management and the implementation of our cricket. And so if there's one thing that I would add to the renaming of the stadium is that you'll be given an opportunity to get a real caravan this time and to go across the country and to continue to keep the sport of cricket alive in our minds. But our contribution to cricket as a government goes much deeper than just the naming of a stand. Our investment, as mentioned by the minister, has been tremendous. Right where we are today, we're getting ready to host 2 international T20 games with Bangladesh, I think? With Bangladesh on the 3rd and 4th of July. 2nd and 3rd of July. And that for us is a major achievement. And as has been proven time and time, if you want to see people enjoy cricket, come to Dominica. The only place you can find a full stand, whether it's 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, or 5 days, Dominicans will turn out to watch the cricket. Because of you, Thomas Kentish, we have learned to love our cricket, and we love it dearly. And I want to, at this point, invite all Dominicans to turn out to watch those games, because I believe that it's our participation that will determine how many more games we get and how often we get those games. We are right up there, but we must not drop, because all the other countries around us are trying to beef up and to see if they can catch up with us. But we're already ahead. We don't have to increase our speed, just maintain a discipline. Let's do a turtle on the rabbits. Let's just be disciplined. Let's take our time, and let's get to the levels that we want to get. Cricket and sports is not only about the financial rewards, because had it been that, you probably would not have lasted so long in the field. But it's about a discipline, and it's about passing on what you have to those who come after you. You may not have benefited financially. Today, we see men that you would have put to the shade if they were in your time, and they have money and they don't even know what to do with it. Men telling them contract, man retiring, man coming back, you know. They don't know what to do with the money they have. But none of them was half as good as you in your time. Well, such is life. But you have something else that you can celebrate and that you could be proud of, because you have passed on a legacy and you have created the opportunity where the dreams of financial rewards will be realized if these young men and young women stick to the discipline and the techniques and the style that you have taught them. To your family, because without family supporting anything that you do, it's not going to last very long. You have been ably supported by your family. I know Desiree very well. We worked together for over 20 years at Ross University. Very jovial lady. And I think in the past we had some opportunity when we fell out with each other, but we always came back very quickly. And as we speak now, we've amended, and we're back to normal now, you know. And she always spoke of Thomas Kentish. She always spoke of you. And she's very dear and close to her family. And we need to thank them, too, for allowing you the opportunity to serve your country at this very high level. We have also honored in a big way many more cricketers like you, as you noticed that all the stands are named after great cricketers and footballers. Some of them we have made lands available for their performances. And we continue to recognize, because we understand the value of sports, not only for its physical, mental, and healthy benefits, but also for the rewards that can be gained from every type of sport. Sport is now commercialized. Some of us can say a good thing, very competitive. Some can say it's a bad thing. It depends on what side of the fence you sit on. But sports tourism is a growing endeavor all across the world. And I believe that we are ideally placed that we can enjoy some of the benefits of sports tourism. This stadium is a vivid example of our commitment to sports. We've been talking for a while, Minister of Sports, about the multi-purpose indoor sports facility, which is on the cards. We had some technical and other issues, but it's still on the cards. And now we're talking about a synthetic track for athletes. Sports will continue to remain a major pillar of the development of this country. And we will do everything that we can possibly do within our limited resources to accomplish this for the people of Dominica. And that you, Thomas Kentish, no matter what sports we're in, but your name is already in the history books of Dominica. And I appreciate your humility in accepting those accolades. And humility is a very, very important feature in the life of any sportsman. Remain humble, remain true to the task, maintain your discipline, and our respect for authority. And that's one of the problems we have, not only in Dominica, but in the region, our inability to accept the judge's decisions. Whether it's a referee's decision, whether it's an umpire's decision, and I know Billy would have very fond moments when some of his decisions were challenged, and the heavy criticism that you would have received in the local, regional, and international news media. But he who has no sins has the first stone. We all fall short sometimes. And the important thing is when you fall, is to rise. And even you, Billy, have risen over this, and you have established your name in the international arena as an elite umpire of tremendous pedigree, according to some of our commentators. TK, you too, as today is your day, your legacy cannot be erased. No Maria, no hurricane can remove the work that you have done. And so today, we induct you into the Hall of Fame of cricket in Dominica and in the Caribbean. Thank you. God bless you. I hope you continue to have a very fruitful life as you continue to impart your knowledge and your skills to several generations to come. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so very much, Honorable Acting Prime Minister Reginald Austrie. It was so fitting to hear the Minister mention the fact that the Windsor Park Sports Stadium is the envy of many in the region. And I would just tell you, without going into too much details, you will see to the eastern side of the field, we have a brand new electronics cupboard that is second to only one place in the world, and that is the Melbourne Cricket Park in Australia. Nowhere in the region has, or in Europe, has a cupboard as the size as we have there today. And so that is one of the features that make us the envy. And it's too early in the morning, so we're going to give you a trial of not a PA system, but a sound system. And I know the Honorable Dennis Charles, the Minister for Tourism and, of course, Entertainment and Events, will be happy to utilize it during the World Quail Festival. Not just for the cricket, that will have a lot of festive to come with it, but we can really say, and the technician have been telling me up to last evening, PS, all the fellas from the region calling us, Barbados, Trinidad, and we live, so we don't want to declare everything. But at the end of the day, that is what it is. We want to be the venue of choice when it comes to international cricket in the world. So let's keep up the good work with that kind of commitment from government and everybody else. It is so fitting, since we always have to show our appreciation and give thanks. And of course, there is no better person suited to do that than an honoree himself and an icon in our sporting legacy, Mr. Billy Doctorow.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Honorable Reginald Ostry, Acting Prime Minister, Honorable Rosalind Paul, Minister for Sports, Culture, Community Development, Worship, the Mayor of Roseau, Mrs. Sandra Ermin Roy, Mr. Trevor Shillingford, Sports Coordinator, Honorable Joseph Isaac and his deputy, and other members of Parliament, Mr. Garford Joseph, Stadium Manager, man of the moment, Thomas Kentish, and Brother Joe and his family, executive members of the Dominica Cricket Association, other invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Normally when the national anthem is sung and I'm at a ceremony, I always close my eyes with reverence to the country. So when I close my eyes, when Mr. Blackmore said we're going to sing the national anthem, I closed my eyes. And then I heard that wonderful voice singing. I said, I never knew Mr. Blackmore could have sung so. I never knew he had that voice. So somewhere in the middle, I took a chance to peep and open one eye. And then I saw my good friend, Carlton, was responsible for that. So I said, well, now I understand. I know he's multi-talented, but I didn't realize that he had that ability. So, yeah. Let me just say, it gives me great pleasure to have been chosen to give the vote of thanks for this memorable occasion. And I must say, this long-awaited occasion. And I suppose the person who, or persons who chose me to do the vote of thanks probably did not realize the extent of TK's friendship and relationship with me for over 50 years. You know, the entire Kentish family, Joe, Desiree. I grew up with these people in Goodwill. Their home in Murphy's Lane, mine in Greens Lane. That was just a throw from the boundary for TK, away from each other. And I'm sure that your parents are looking down on you and on this function today with great pride. As I said, TK grew up in Goodwill, and we attended the Goodwill Junior High School. I was a little older than him, so I was ahead of him. But we went to the Dominica Grammar School after that, and we played for a number of years together on the Dominica Grammar School cricket team. I attempted to follow him. I was picked to play a football game against the SMA right at the Windsor Park. But unfortunately, I broke my hand that very first game, and that was the end of my football career. But I stayed on playing with cricket, and Mr. Shillingford, you didn't do me justice. TK's greatest catch taken off his bowling was by me. And TK will tell you that. I don't even have to tell. TK will tell you that in a game, grammar school against police, and I was feeling at leg slip. That's where I normally used to feel of TK's bowling. Because at that time I was nimble and sharp and reflexes were good. Eyesight was very good also in those days. And I caught who at the time was Corporal, what's his name? He used to be a police officer. Frederick, yeah. He was at one time in charge of the Coast Guard. But, and TK will tell you, this is probably the best catch taken of his bowling. I am not saying that I intended to take the catch. I'm not saying whether it was a fluke, but the ball stuck in my hand, the batsman was out, and he went down to the pavilion. So that's my claim to fame as a cricketer. But we have remained very close friends from since those days. And we spent a lot of time honing our sports skills at Lindo Park, morning and afternoon from sunrise to sunset. My first time I went onto the cricket field as a first-class umpire was right here at the Windsor Park. I was a standby umpire, and the umpire fell sick, and that was Winwards against Trinidad, and TK was playing. Should I give the joke, TK? And we had a battle that last inning, because Winwards were wanting somewhere just over 100 runs to win the game, and Trinidad was really attacking, and I, for the first time, on the field. All I can say is that from that day on, I got to know TK's elbow is the hardest part of his body. And he'll tell you why I say that. Now, I am really, really proud to be here today, because if anybody deserves this recognition, is TK. He has always been very humble, but he played his sports hard, real hard. Because I was umpire in many of his games. I was a referee in many of his games. He got a few yellow cards from me. But I must say, not once did any of us lose respect or lose friendship with each other because of that. He played his game hard, and I always took my officiating very seriously. And he never once interfered with the way I conducted my games, and I never once attempted to ask him to lower his intensity, because that's the person he was. He was an intense sportsman, and he took no prisoners when he was on the sporting field. Unlike when you meet him ordinarily, he's so quiet and humble. But TK deserves this recognition. Many people were of the opinion that he should have played Test cricket. He did not, but TK never allowed that disappointment to generate any bitterness and hatred and jealousy in his heart because he didn't play Test cricket like some other former cricketers that I know. He, on the contrary, he came out of that stronger and decided that he wanted to assist and make his contribution in developing young cricketers in Dominica. And if any one of you have the opportunity to stand with TK anywhere in Roseau, within a very short period of time, you will hear a young man passing and calling him coach. That's the kind of relationship that he has developed with his students that he has taught over the years. And over the past 15, 20 years, almost every national player has passed under the coaching hands of TK. And I don't want to be too controversial, but one of the things that have always amazed me is why TK never got the opportunity to coach our senior national team more often. And this is one thing I think that the respective cricket associations over the years would have difficulty in justifying. But as I say, one man's loss and another man's gain, and the sports division has benefited from that because he has contributed a great deal with sports and cricket in particular at the school level. I say we went to grammar school together, from primary school. We worked together at the sports division, and TK has always been one of my greatest supporters, you know. And I said he played his cricket hard. He was one of the best gully fieldsmen in the game during his time. For those of us who understand cricket. And it showed his mentality. So I want to take, I thought, I'm supposed to be giving a vote of thanks? Yeah. I couldn't just come and just give a vote of thanks and not highlight again TK's great ability. You know, so I feel proud to have been given the opportunity, you know, and feel proud to have considered him my friend for over all those years. And it's always great to see Joe again, because I mean, Joe was a member of my club since for a number of years, you know, and I want to thank his wife and children for being here to support TK on this glorious occasion. I want to just say that I can vouch for the cricketing ability of the acting Prime Minister. I can vouch for his wicket-keeping ability, because I remembered I saw him one day, and why stuck in my mind is that, as if those of us know cricket, Baez top scored that inning. So, so I always remember that. But I really want to say, TK, thanks for the opportunity, for giving the whole country the opportunity to recognize you appropriately. I think you deserve it. You have worked hard, and you have always been a true Dominican. I want to thank the government of Dominica for recognizing your great ability and what you have done for the country. And I really want to highlight the presence here of almost the entire cabinet. I want you to congratulate yourselves for being here. I think it's a great show of support, because I myself always want to ensure that everybody recognizing what sports can do for any country. Because I've always said it takes one sports personality in any sport to excel at the international level, and Dominica will get more promotion and publicity than any other activity. And Minister of Foreign Affairs, take note, whatever you're involved in, whatever activity that you're involved in, no other activity can give Dominica that kind of recognition that when a sports person makes it international. And when a sports person like TK excels, it means that they have overcome lots of adversity. And TK has always been very good at that, overcoming and accepting the adversity. So I want to thank the government for recognizing TK. I want to thank the Windsor Park Sports Stadium Development Committee for embracing the opportunity to have TK's name on the eastern side. And I want to thank the members of the public who are here and who are listening to us and viewing us via media. And it's just a great occasion to be here to celebrate the naming of the Thomas Kentish stand. TK, we are all proud of you. I personally am very proud to consider you as a dear friend of mine for so long. You know, we have grown up together. You know, we have done lots of things together, especially on our toys and kids and St. Lucia, which we won't share. But it just shows you how far that we have come from, and we are still very, very strong in our relationship. So it is a great pleasure to be here, and I really want to thank everyone for recognizing Thomas Kentish today. As I said, he deserves it. There are lots of important persons on the stand, names on the stands, and probably TK is probably one of the most deserving ones. Forget about the name on the pavilion. So again, everyone, I want to thank everyone for being here and being part of this memorable and deserving occasion. I thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Billy Doctorov. Of course, as you rightly mentioned, I don't think there could have been any person more fitting than you, even if you didn't tell us the secrets, for giving the honor of recognizing all those who have partaken in making this celebration happen today. We have come to the point of really putting the icing on the cake. I would like to ask us to, we'll take the foreground in a while. We'll ask TK and Mr. Shillingford to escort the Minister, Honorable Paul, to the platform by the ribbon.
Wow, quite a bit was said here this afternoon. This morning, we can see, in relation to the honoring of, we can now call him TK, that's Thomas Kentish, after whom this stadium, the East Stand, will be named this morning as we get ready for the ribbon cutting and the unveiling of the plaque. Okay, the unveiling of the platform, and we can, let's see how far or
so we can, so those of us who don't mind the song, we could just take a stand or stay where you can look at it from where you are, but we'll go on to the field and look across, so if you feel more comfortable sitting and looking across, the option is yours.
Okay, so we are getting ready for this unveiling as we speak at this time. As we speak at this time, as we get ready for the unveiling of this platform here at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium.
Majority roles will go onto the field and look towards the stand
cameraman
the
will
unveiling
ensure
and the cutting of the ribbon
that we get the
Thank you very
best
much.
quality as possible. Okay, so our cameraman is ensuring that we get the best quality possible as we are back on this broadcast. As you can see from the top here, the green banner covering the name, and then when the two assistants on the left and right will pull these strings, about 4 of them or 5 of them will pull the strings, and the full name will be shown, the Thomas Kentish stand. We can see the minister. The minister just cut the ribbon along with Thomas Kentish himself. So the first part of it is the cutting of the ribbon, and then we will see the unveiling of the name of Thomas Kentish. In assisting, we have the Trevor Shinford, who is the sports coordinator here in Dominica. Here we go, Thomas Kentish stand, the East stand here, and you can hear the clapping in the background. Okay, here we go. Wonderful, wonderful indeed. So congratulations to Thomas Kentish, TK, as we all know him to be. Congratulations on this. This is the final of the naming of the stands, and the other stands we know are Grayson Shillingford, Norbert Philip. Well, we can see them shaking hands now, the Honorable Minister and Thomas Kentish himself posing for the cameras for this very momentous occasion here at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium in Roseau, Dominica. So we heard the story where 3 people at one point were just sitting in that East stand before it was named years ago, and Thomas Kentish happened to be one of those persons who was sitting in that stand, and history just revealed itself. It was a prophetic word, as it were, and he did say that he was sitting in the Thomas Kentish stand, and it did bear fruit to this very day.
Thank you very much.
Here in Dominica, the Norbert Phillips and Adam Stanford stand. We have the Grayson Shillingford and Irving Shillingford stand. We have the Clem John and Caleb Laura stand. Honorable Minister, what a wonderful occasion here this morning. I know you are one of the driving forces at the back of all of this, because without your efforts, we won't see some of what's happening here in Dominica.
I know, it is certainly days like this that makes me proud to be a part of the Roosevelt Skerritt administration, who really goes out to recognize outstanding Dominicans. It was really a pleasure for me to be at the ceremony to learn of the life and the sacrifice of Thomas Kentish. And what I really admired most about him is his humility, his passion, and commitment to sports development of our country and to represent our country throughout the region. And despite his disappointments, was willing to serve, to encourage young men, so even the heights that he did not reach, that they would achieve. And that, to me, it makes him an outstanding Dominican, and I'm really honored to be part of this ceremony, which honor a man so deserving. And so today is Thomas Kentish's day, and may God continue to bless him and his family.
And may God bless you too. Wonderful work there. The Honorable Minister Denise Charles, Minister for Tourism. And as you know, we are preparing for the Bangladesh versus West Indies in the early part of July, early first week of July 2022. So we do invite you to stay tuned for that. But I also know there are many other organizations and individuals who are looking forward to being here at the stadium to celebrate, and we know the stands are going to be full, as we heard when the first official West Indies game was played here at Windsor Park. The other stands were full except for this one, and Thomas Kentish said was one of the persons among the 3 sitting in that stand, but did not give up and said he was of course sitting in the Thomas Kentish stand. I know when it comes to cricket in Dominica, the Kalinago territory, the folks from the Kalinago territory are very much involved. The folks from the Kalinago territory are very much involved in sports. So let me see if I can have a word with the
Thank you.
Honorable Minister, good morning to you. I know you have a passion for sports in Dominica, and when it comes to cricket, we know the territory comes alive, and Dominicans from all over support. Your impression of what you see?
Today was a pleasure to be here. I know TK from being a teacher at the Salbe Primary School, and so all of the young men in Kalinago who've been playing cricket and who star in the GN Benjamin, the Calvin Hodge, all of those guys would have interacted with TK, and he would have been their coach. And so knowing him as a teacher, then when I worked at the Ministry of Kalinago Affairs, he also assisted in our programs, working with the KPL and all of the things we're doing. So I'm excited, and now as a minister, to see and to be in person. I know he is a true living legend. And so we have to continue to do those things to sort of give people their roses while they're alive. And so excited to be part of the government to do that. And the East, this is the East, so the East is Kalinago. It come back to me, come back to the Laplin area, the Casabus area, all of the areas that I've worked. So I'm happy for him as a friend, as a comrade, as a sports enthusiast myself. I'm really happy that we had a chance to honor him in our lifetime, and so that his legacy can remain in a national infrastructure like the stadium.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That was Honorable Kosier Frederick, the Minister responsible for Kalinago Affairs. Thank you so very much for joining us once again on this broadcast here at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. Wonderful time to celebrate with Thomas Kentish, his achievements, and we know this is just the beginning. We invite you to stay tuned to Kyrie FM, the genuine sound of Dominica. Don't forget, tonight at the Old Mill Cultural Center, something unique is happening at the Old Mill Cultural Center tonight from 10 o'clock. You've got to stay tuned in partnership with Peter Prosper. Steve Vidal saying, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, taking you back to Master Control.